You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
We've been expecting you.
Monday, time for our maven of the supernatural, Denise Pridemore. This is the Paranormal Pride. Join to listen and chat live on WBHM-DB.com or Spreaker app. Search WBHM-DB every Monday at 7 p.m. Central for your supernatural paranormal fix. Welcome to the Paranormal Pride, where the show is about the guest and the listener.
Welcome to the Paranormal Pride. I'm Denise Pridemore, your host for tonight. I hope everyone is having a great night. I would like for everyone to say a small prayer for Carl's granddaughter's dad, Cassidy's dad. He's in surgery. Well, hopefully he's in surgery right now, getting his new kidneys and pancreas. I know he's been waiting quite a while for those. Then we also have prayers for Sri Lanka right now. That's very, very sad. And in the past week, we've also, on the 19th, we lost Lorraine Warren. So we all know in the paranormal that is a huge loss, but luckily she went peacefully in her sleep. And anybody who knows anything about her, she really has been she hadn't been really with us for a little while. Friends of mine that know her know that she's suffering from dementia. So, or Alzheimer's, I don't know which one it was, but I knew that she hadn't been really all together there. And with Ron's dad suffering from dementia, it was really kind of sad. So, but, she's with Ed. Can't be all bad. So hopefully she's getting the answers to her questions right now. So, that's as sad as it is, it's probably a good thing too. So my guest tonight is a good friend of ours that we've known this 2019, 10 years, Coyote Chris Sutton.
That's
Makes
right.
It easy. Yep, 2009. We met you at the camp out, the October camp out at McPike Mansion.
That's
And,
exactly it.
Time flies.
It does, doesn't it? I was figuring out the other day that, because I was saying, I planned my year out, and I was looking, I always keep that camp. I don't care. I got asked a really nice gig. Okay, I said no, I'm booked. I will not break that covenant I have with Sharon and McPike Mansion. I will be there as long as she'll have me. So, but yeah, I've been doing that for 2006. Gosh, 13. It's been my 14th year.
Well, the thing is everybody looks forward to seeing you and Sandy, as well as the other people that always show up. If one person isn't there, we all notice it. The year that Tiffany passed, we all noticed Tiffany wasn't there.
Right.
Last year without Jerome, even though we were cussing him while we were putting up the tent, because he put the tent away in a certain way. Guess what? We put it away a certain way this year as I labeled everything. But you notice when somebody's not there. So next year or this year when we set up the tent, it's going to be hopefully it'll be easier. We won't be cussing as much. But, one of the things that Ron and I were talking about last night, places that you can't really use equipment at, that in McPike was one of those. Mm-hmm. Because Henry doesn't know what the equipment is. Nope. The spirits there don't respond. But maybe now Jerome and Tiffany may respond to equipment. So it may be a little bit of a different setting with Jerome and Tiffany, if, depending upon which spirits you're talking to, because we all know Jerome is going to show up.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The question is will Jerome show up dressed as Jerome, or will he show up dressed as Henry? Or
I don't know. I don't think he wants to. I don't think he'll want to compete with Henry, so he'll probably come dressed as himself.
Or is it or Lucas Pfeiffinger?
Yeah, he could go that route too. Definitely.
So it will be interesting to see how he will show up, but that's a whole different thing. So we all now need to think about that when we go to the camp out. Do we need to bring more than just our flashlights and dowsing rods now? Do we need to bring equipment for Jerome?
I can't
know how he loved equipment.
Yeah, I never recall ever using equipment there. I may have used it around, walked through with a millimeter, and nothing happened. I probably just threw it over side after that, but because I don't always use that stuff anyway. But
right.
Yeah, this place is unique. I mean, the folks out there with, we're talking about the McPike Mansion out in Illinois, and like Denise said, we've been hanging out there for 10 years and plus, and together, and it's just a really neat place. But yeah, there's a family. The McPike family lives there, and they don't know what that shit is, and they don't want to mess with it, so they won't touch it.
No, and that's not the only place. If you guys are thinking about McPike, I'm going to tell you, go to McPikeMansion.com. You'll see all the tours. In fact, their first tour was just Saturday. They had the Earth Day tour. There is one tour a month until September. So go check that out. And the tours are relatively inexpensive, and you will love it. And if you show up there during the week, just be very, very respectful. Because Sharon and George isn't really working, but he's got things he's got to do.
Right.
Sharon's working, but they'll let you look around the place. Just don't go in the house. You can take pictures, things like that, but just be really respectful. But this is just one of the few places in Alton, Illinois that you can check out and find out more about. And the other place that Coyote Chris is known for right now is this other little place in Alton called Mineral Springs Hotel. I mean, it's just this little place that you drive right by and not even notice it.
It's only 5 stories.
God. Well, from the back, it looks really big. From the front, it doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't. It looks like it's about 2 stories. It's got a little shop there and stuff, and an upstairs. But you don't see what's built into the hill that goes down to the next street, because Alton's hilly and stuff. So,
right.
Oh my, that's a fun place too.
It is, and I found it really interesting. The first time we went there was not last year during the Haunted Road Media Paracon, the first annual one.
Right.
That wasn't the first time we'd been in there, but it was the first time that we'd ever been down in the pool or in the basement with you. That was the first time we'd ever been in there. But I had been in there before and had a paranormal experience. Well, in the bathroom. I know that sounds weird when you say in the bathroom that I had a paranormal experience, but apparently on that main floor bathroom, that's one of the most haunted spots in the building.
Can be. They like the bathrooms there. My daughter was down in the ballroom bathroom one time, and the toilet flushed by itself, and so she came right out there like she's on fire, and she's experienced. She's been doing stuff with me, so I could tell she was pretty scared about that. But yeah.
And guys, you need to know these bathrooms are the old. You have to manually flush them. They're not automatic. Nothing in this building is automatic, including the lights.
That's right.
So, unless something has changed since last year.
Nope, it's pretty much the same.
This building is weird. And I think the only thing that's been completely the same the entire time has been the barber shop from the time that it opened to now. Yeah,
that's always been there.
It's been mostly continuously operating as a barber shop, except for a short period of time.
Yeah, back in the early 70s, I think it was, when the place completely shut down. And then when they started putting shops in, Wayne got, and then even when a lot of the shops, most of the shops left and stuff, Wayne was still in there. That'd be the only place open. He and the Curiosity Museum, I think she still had that. I think that was open too during those times, and they did some investigations there. But it's really blossomed and ballooned now, and it's a wild place. So you never know one time to another what's going to happen. You know, it's and you never know. It could be one day the upstairs is the Wild West, and down you go in the sub basement where it's usually really haunted. Nothing's going on. It's just most places where, and there's this weird kind of energy that moves through the building. You never know where it's going to light, and so it's every time you go, it's just different. And I've been in there, gosh, I don't know how many times now. I've investigated and just been in there because I teach classes and things there as well, and so yeah, it's worth it, you know, to go out there. I mean, McPike's worth it. This is worth it. I mean, you get a much longer investigation here, but because there's just so many places to go. You got the pool. Somebody drowned in the pool. The sub basement used to be a slaughterhouse. It really wasn't, but it's still pretty creeped out down there. I was down there. My son Max and I were down there one time. Actually, it was last year at the Haunted Road Media, I think it was, and it's my favorite place, the sub basement. If I get my choice, I'll just sit down there all night and let groups come through and I'll work with, you know, we'll investigate and stuff. But Max and I were down there last year, and we're in the pitch black because there's lights that go to a certain point, but it's half the time they go out. Just, you know, there's no reason why they just go out. And Max and I are standing there in the middle, kind of just goofing around, and also we hear footsteps walking around us. It wasn't up above because there's no footsteps coming from above. It's solid concrete all the way up for a long ways, and so it was just like, you know, okay, well, this is business as usual at the Mineral Springs. You just kind of like roll, you know, shrug your shoulders and say, okay, let's just, you know, see what's going on. And they walk around for a while, and then they took off. And so yeah, you just never know. Rocks go flying down there in all sorts of places. And but yeah, in the pool, they found a wet footprint one time. Actually, that was Troy Taylor's group had done that. And if you go down into the pool, there's a little anteroom there, I guess, where people used to get ready to go in the pool and stuff. And they've got it taped off where that little girl's footprint was. People always say that the little girl drowned there. It wasn't a little girl that drowned in there. It was an adult male.
Yes, and his name was Clarence.
Oh, Clarence, yes, I believe so. Yeah. Yeah,
because he was there. He told me. I'm going to tell you, we had a crappy tour experience there during Haunted Road Media Paracon. And no, not because, nothing to do with Mike and Haunted Road Media. Our tour guides abandoned us.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And yeah, they abandoned us. And we ended up with a guy that had been doing tours there 5 years before. And he was bound to determine that this little girl was down there, and I kept looking at the people that were with us and kept saying, I'm sorry, but there's this man here. His name, he keeps telling me his name is Clarence. I said, and he also has a different name, but I said, he's here. And his guy's going, nope, it's the little girl. It's the little girl. And I'm going, okay, whatever.
No, right. I know.
Gritting my teeth. And I was so upset about being abandoned, and that's just not right. Okay.
No, it's not.
You don't sign up to help with an event and then walk out. But we ended up better off. Okay. Right. We ended up better off with the guy that we had there because at least he knew the building, and he did a great job, other than he didn't want to listen to anybody else.
Right.
Which, like I said, is fine. You know, I understand. I've been a tour guide. Sometimes I tend to be a little laser focused as well. And so I understand. But I listened to Dave, the guy who owns It's Raining Zen with his wife, who they own the building, and he gets very irritated, not angry, irritated at the false stories.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Dave doesn't like those.
Yeah, he doesn't like those at all. The thing that irritated him the most is the D word.
Yes. Oh my goodness, we don't use that, and I don't use it myself. So
no.
But yeah, no, that's just, gosh, now you got me on demons. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna rant number 3. Here we go. But really, it's like, I love when you go do an investigation. Somebody's having problems, whatnot, and they, a couple pans got rattled and so they say, "Oh, it's got to be demons." I say, you know what? Did the demon claw his way out of the pits of hell to come to your house and rattle your pots and pans? No, that's not what happened. And so it's of course, we did Ghost Adventures. Ghost Adventures came to Mineral Springs,
Mhm.
and some of us were on it. Me and Dave and Donna, Jennifer from D&M Paranormal,
Mhm.
and Janet. Janet was there, who owns the Curiosity Museum, who's been giving tours and things like that for years and years and years. Really
Right.
sweet lady.
And I've met her. She's really nice.
She is very nice. So we were watching. We watched the show. We had a watch party at a local restaurant, and of course, the first part of the show was when we were all did our little things, and stuff. We were kick back and watch the rest of it. Sure enough, they were down in the sub basement, and was it SBC? I don't know what kind of gear they're using. It actually it prints the word out. It's on the little dial thing there.
The Ovilus.
Ovilus, that's it. Yeah, and so sure enough, right where that now the Mineral Springs in the sub basement. This is where they used to bottle the spring water. Mineral Springs
Mm-hmm.
Hotel. The reason it was built where it is because these brothers were trying to drill for water because they were going to make ice. This is a big new thing, and they hit mineral water instead. And so back then, people thought mineral water was the cure to all things, so they started bottling this stuff, and God knows it'd probably kill you quicker than whatever disease you had, but people would drink it anyway. And then they built a hotel, and there was besides regular pool, there's a men's pool where the spring water went in. So there's a big hole there where it was. There had been a copper kettle, big copper kettle thing. That's where they drew the water out of. And there's a big hole. It's all full of debris. And yeah, they were down in that. So Billy got in that hole, and also obvious said demon. They went running out of there. And I've never run out of that place in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But and I've heard some strange stuff, and I've been grabbed and all sorts of things. But pride.
Hey, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to grab you.
No, you didn't. No, I've been grabbed. I got grabbed in McPike too one time, but I think it was because they're pretty friendly there, so they were just. I think it was one of them just grabbed me just to kind of give me a squeeze just for the hell of it, just to play around, because it didn't feel ucky or anything like that. But
There's nothing malicious.
no, but now it's a nice theory. I mean, we're kind of kicking this theory around with, this hole might be a place where they transport in and out because water flowed through there and stuff. So it's possible. You never know. I've never seen a vortex in it, but yeah. So the demon word comes up, and that just drives Dave up the wall. But here's we were talking about this whole thing and with the Ghost Adventure guys, and I have to say, if everybody asks you if you've ever met these guys, they always ask you, what's Zach like? Yeah. Zach was very polite to me and to everybody else I could see. I mean, now he wasn't overly talkative or anything like that. And when I was on, they sent me down the sub basement with Aaron and the rest of the guys, and he stayed up top. But yeah, I mean, he was very, very polite, knew who I was, and Aaron, you and Chris go down, and with the rest of the guys go down and do the basement. Aaron's very nice. Aaron's kind of funny. He's like, he knows what I do and stuff. He goes, so you do shamanism? I said, yeah. He goes, hey man, whatever you do, if something happens to me, don't do anything. Just let it happen. Don't do that shaman stuff. Don't put that smudge on me and stuff. Just let me go, man. I don't care what happens. I said, Aaron. I said, dude, it's okay. I don't touch anybody that doesn't want to be touched. But here, let me write this down. Aaron convulsing on ground. Don't bother. Check. Gotcha. And he laughed. We laughed. We thought it was funny. So,
oh yeah.
But they're all very nice. I mean, I had a good time with them. But they do what they do, and I guess that's what people seem to like it because they've been on television for so long.
Yeah. Well, kind of similar to what I told you about my experience with them too. They treated
Right.
me very respectfully.
Yeah.
But you know what, guys? We're up to our first break. I hope that everybody's having a good time. If you guys have any questions for Coyote Chris, please put it out there in chat and let me know what it is, and I will make sure I ask it. If you click on my name in the chat, it'll pop up right in front of me, and I don't even have to go look for it. That makes it even easier. But you're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting. The best in paranormal talk radio.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but... Nope. That'll do. Hello. I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Son of a...
Hey, son.
Mother...
Son? What are you doing?
Hey, Mom. I'm getting ready to listen to Periscope Uncensored.
By expanding your vocabulary.
Well, it is uncensored.
Son, the uncensored part of Periscope Uncensored is Jax and I getting down to brass tacks with all aspects of the paranormal. There's no fluff on our show.
So, no off-color commentary?
I didn't say that.
Awesome!
Son?
I just hit my head.
Oh boy. I'll go get you an ice pack. Catch Periscope Uncensored Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, only on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Since 1948, Fate Magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 23 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Pride. I'm talking to Coyote Chris Sutton. You guys may remember him from, if you went to the Haunted Road Media Paracon last year, he was there. He was recently on Ghost Adventures back in January for Mineral Springs Hotel, Curse of the River Bend.
Yes.
If you remember that. I'm going to tell you, the River Bend is not cursed.
No.
Okay, that's the first thing. Is the town of Alton cursed with something? Apparently it is, because apparently the Mississippi River and the Missouri River hates it. That's the only thing I can find so far for a fact, because it floods all the time.
Well, that's all the time. We have lots of limestone too. Don't forget limestone.
Yes,
now.
You do have that. You do have a lot of different things going on there.
Yeah.
Read your history about Alton. I mean, just the history of Alton is very interesting. And I hate to say it because I don't really promote Troy Taylor very well. It's personal. But he has a book called Haunted Alton. And it does really go into some of that history very well. And I think that you guys would really enjoy that book. The latest edition is probably the best, but the older editions cover it very well. So if you plan on going to Alton, at least look that book over. It's going to give you some really good information. That was one of the very first books that I ever bought on anything haunted history. Because when I first got involved in the paranormal outside of my own life, I knew more about the city of Alton than I did anywhere else. And then one day I said, I need to know more about some place close by, because I can't spend all my time learning about a place 350 miles away. I need to know more about someplace closer. Thus, that's how I got involved here. But that's a long story. But check that book out. You can probably get it free on Amazon or get it free from Kindle.
Yeah.
If not, you can probably get it at the library pretty inexpensive, for free, and read it and take it back. There's also another one that's called just the history of Alton. That's really very interesting. It's a lot of newspaper articles and pictures and stuff like that. It's really good.
Yeah,
and,
you probably know more about Alton's history than I do by now. I grew up, I was born and raised there.
Well,
I probably know more, I think.
You probably do just by walking by different places. But we did back in 2009, we did one of the Troy Taylor walking tours, and it was given to us by this man and lady that was on one of the My Ghost Stories.
Okay.
When that first came out.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it was really good. They took us into the Enos Sanitarium, which now everybody is an apartment building.
Right.
But it was on the Underground Railroad.
Yep.
And the Enos Sanitarium was used as a tuberculosis center. So it was very interesting, and you can still see the cupola and all that when you're coming across the bridge. You can see it as you're coming into town. So they took us in there, and this is when they first found the tunnel in the Unitarian Church. They had just uncovered it, and they took us down in the church, and they, I was willing to crawl back in there to get to to where the tunnel opening was. Okay, that's how much younger I was at the time, and how much less scared I was of things that could kill me.
I went to church. I went to church there, so I wouldn't go crawling back in there. I investigated that place by myself and stuff. But it is down there. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I said, they had just had dug that out at the time. They said. But the Unitarian Church is one of the most beautiful churches there in town, and very interesting. And if half of the things that they said happened there, if only half of them happened, that is probably one of the most haunted places in town.
It is. I mean, what's unique about it, I mean, you had a suicide of a minister. His first name was Paul, I forgot his last name. And I know where the death spot is. I found it, and it lines up pretty close with how the story goes.
Is that near one of the, what's it called? One of the doorways?
Yes, it's near a doorway. It's like towards the kitchen area.
Okay. That's where they said.
Yeah. And, there was, now everybody thinks that, it was always a Unitarian church, and it wasn't. For a while, it was a Catholic church. Because the St. Mary's Church is down 3rd Street from the church, and they call that Heaven Hill. And of course, Unitarians, being Unitarians, we're on Heathen Hill, is what they called it. It's kind of a joke, but yeah. So I was in there one time, and down the basement. I think my daughter might have been with me, but standing back and whatnot. And so I was kind of doing, reaching out and trying to feel anything. And so that's how I investigate a lot, as Denise knows, is through feeling and, through working with energies and things like that as part of my shamanic practice. And I got to this one spot, and it's kind of up a little bit in the basement. It's about chest, maybe shoulder high, maybe a little bit lower. And I felt this energy. It wasn't really trying to get in me too much, so I kind of let it go. And I kept taking my thumb and my forefinger together and reaching my hand up in the air. That's what it wanted me to do. And I thought, what in the world, what could it be? And I thought, wait a minute, what does a priest do when they serves the host? That's what he does. The thumb, the forefinger, the blessed fingers, and they pick up the way for the host. And that's how they serve. That's how they begin the communion. And it's like, and more and more I felt that, like, what they would do back then, it wouldn't bury him for a while. They'd stick him down in the basement. It was like they were interred down there for a while. He was interred down there for a while before they moved him. And it was like, whoa, after a while you start thinking about it. And so, I mean, that's what I thought. I mean, I can't. It was a Catholic church. It did burn down one time too. And
I think that I remember them saying something about that. And when we were on our tour, we had this one lady that walked in, and immediately she had to turn around and walk out, and she ended up getting very violently ill. Yeah,
I could see that happening.
And I was like, wow, this is really strange, because this was one of our very first tours that we'd ever taken with a paranormal tour, actually. Our very first paranormal tour was there. And, it wasn't long after that we found, that's when Ghost Lab was at McPike, not long after that. And of course, like I said, and then not long then we met you. So all of this stuff all happened around that same time. But we have a question for you from Brenda.
Sure.
She
Hi,
wants
Brenda.
to know, what's the meaning behind the things you wear around your neck in the picture on your page? One is triangle shaped, and the other is red and black.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. The one is a medicine pouch. It's a triangle shaped. It's a small bag that has stones and other things in there. It's very personal, so you don't tell what's in it. But that's sort of like things that represent my medicine. And your medicine is your gift. Is the way we describe it. And just to backtrack just a hair here, I'm part of the Red Cedar Circle and the Sassiwas medicine tradition, which comes from the northwest coast of the U.S. and up there into Canada, Vancouver Island, and those areas up in there. And the teachings have come down to here, and we have a group here in this area. So these things are representative of my medicine. So like I do different things. I do healing work. I do psychic work, or I would say seeing work, but psychic works just as well. I work with spirits, ghostly spirits and other spirits. And so those things are represented that. Now, the sash I have on, it's red and black. Those are Sassiwas colors. The Sassiwas colors are red, black, light blue like sky blue, and white. The red and the black are used mostly when those are very strong colors in the healing sense. And so a friend of mine made me that, and so I wear it when I do ceremony and things like that. And I did for the picture as well. But yeah, that's what those two things are. So you're just like the things inside of a medicine bag or a medicine pouch are symbolic of who you are. And there's probably also some stuff in there. You could put things in there that would protect you. Or gave you energy or strength or whatever. So it's pretty much a personal description of who you are and what you need to have on you.
Perfect. And Brody asks, are you a medium?
I'm a medium rare. Okay, I'm waiting for the laughter. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I was going to go with that you were a medium large, if you want to give him a shirt. So
I've gone to the well too much on that one. I am now in the sense that do I like some mediums talk? I mean, have conversations and things like that, and the spirits come to them and yap in their ear. Now, I've got probably a little layer between that. Now, I do feel them. I do get messages from them that I have to interpret. But I usually get a pretty good. I'm a really good empath. And so I usually get the feelings and I get words that'll come through my head, that things I need to hear. So I kind of get the very gist, but I don't get a lot of extra of chatter with that. So yeah, I can tell if a spirit wants to tell me something, they tell me, and I get it figured out. I was up in this is kind of the crappy part of this kind of work. If you're an empathic and if you're medium a little bit, I was up at Edinburgh Manor up in Iowa. It's in Scotch Grove, Iowa, which is out in the middle of nowhere. Like every other place in Iowa is in the middle of nowhere if you're doing a paranormal investigation, as you well know. And we were out in a field. There's a field right next to it. There's a hedge, and there's a field right next to that. And we're pretty sure that's where they buried him. Edinburgh was a poor farm, so everybody there is indigent. They don't have any money. They work in the fields, and they get to eat and sleep. That was their existence. So they had no, medical attention was very rare. And when somebody died, they just put them in we're pretty sure, they had no money to bury him. They probably threw him in a bag and buried him out in the pauper's graveyard. Mm-hmm. And we were walking through there and we, feeling this kind of stuff. Yes, it's got to be a graveyard. Graveyards, unmarked graveyards, you can start feeling the death and stuff underneath you. And it's like, yeah. So we stepped over this one, and we can't tell the graves. You're just walking in the field. You don't know what it is. And so you're just walking like, yeah, there's one. Yeah, there's one. And we stepped on one, and all of a sudden something kind of stopped me. And all I could hear was no, 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 no. And somebody just crouched and buried. And I thought to myself, oh my God, they buried one alive. He wasn't dead yet, but he's unconscious, probably had very low vitals, and into the bag and into the hole.
Well,
I was like,
the question I would have is, did you take any dowsing rods out there?
I don't, I got somebody.
To look for graves.
That's a good idea. I just didn't think about that. That was the first time I'd really looked out in that area. So yeah, next time I'll do that. We'll start to see where we can map it, maybe.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I just recently had Curtis Miller on, who's one of the tour guides out there.
Sure.
And he had said, yeah, Denise, you guys really do need to check this place out. And the only thing he told me for sure is that if I came out, make sure I have a respirator because of my illness.
Yes.
So he
you
goes,
would have to.
he goes, that's the only thing I would tell you that you would have to do. He goes, but otherwise, he goes, you would have a great time. And so now I know for sure that that's one place that I would definitely want to have dowsing rods. Plus, you know, I've had Katie and Josh on in the past, you know, and they were tour guides out there as well. And Katie has, you know, she's an author for Haunted Road Media as well. And she has written quite a few stories about her experiences out there. But, you know, one of her best experiences, though, was meeting her husband there.
No, Katie's a sweetie, too. I like Katie.
And, of course, we also know that some of our other good friends have met each other there as well. You know, the Creeps guys met a lot of their friends there at Edinburgh as well. So it's a catalyst for a lot of people. And
it is.
And it's one of Chuck's places as well. And Chuck is in the chat. And we have Mallard's in there. Jim Mallard's in there.
Jimmy Mallard's in there. Hey, Jimmy.
Yes. And he has a question for you. Jim Mallard has a question for you.
First, let me say hi, Chuck. Good to see you. We'll see Chuck June 1st. That's for sure.
Yes, we will. We will all see Chuck on June 1st. And I suggest that everybody grabs his butt and gives him a big cuddle.
I'm not going to do that, but everybody else can.
Oh, you will. And you know you will.
No.
The question that Jim has is, just so you'll know, he says it's kind of a magic earth question. So you're going to have to get into your head there.
I've been on his show. I know how he is. Go ahead.
Can you see the breeze but not feel it?
Can you see? What is that? A Zen koan or what? Can you see the breeze but not feel it? That's an interesting question.
There's a place that I've been where I have seen the breeze and never felt it.
I've seen it. I have seen it. You know, that's something I've never, you know, there's some of these things I've never really thought about. I just, you know, I guess I just don't, yes, thank you. I experience these things, but I don't really, you know, think about it, I guess. Have I seen the wind? Yes. Have I not felt it? Maybe if it was above me and it hadn't started yet, yeah. That's possible. Leave it to Jim. Okay. That's a good question though, because usually I just buzz off and start talking, and now I just stop and think. That's a good question. I'll have to think. I know I've seen the wind. I've seen the air. I've seen it. I know, especially when the energy is high and things are going, and I can see that. But if I not felt it, if I'm in that mode, then I'd feel other stuff. So I don't know if I'd be able to tell the difference.
See now, Jim, because he's trying to avoid dead air, now he's going to rationalize it by
I know.
So
no doubt. I know the dangers of dead air, my dear.
Yeah. Yeah, because then other things start talking, and then I have to hear the EVP. But that's another thing. Here's a question that came up to me recently, because I realized that I don't get EVPs. I've never gotten an EVP, and I wonder if it's because I can hear the spirit speak, so that it ignores my recorder and just talks directly to me.
Yeah. I don't, I have not gone after many EVPs, and I'll tell you exactly why. I am too lazy to sit and listen to hours of tape. I'm not going to do it. If I get a message, I get it. So I don't worry about that. Again, I have not tried enough. I tried enough because now you get the stuff on your phone. These things, these recorders on your phone, and it's got the little graph and everything on there. So I use that if I do it all, and I can only do it like for 3 minutes because I get tired of it. I get bored with it. So but I've never gotten many. When I have tried, no. I can think of.
Well, I tried last week when we were at Ashmore, and nothing. I tried for quite a while, and whatever spirits were in there didn't even want to talk to me, period. And they said, in this room, spirits don't like the women. But, that's fine, because we all know that's not always necessarily the case. It might not just be the right woman.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, they're like anybody else. They could be pissy, and not want to talk to you, and that's okay. It's their house. You know what I'm saying? It's like, plus it's like fishing anyway.
It is. I say that all the time.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's hot, and sometimes it's not, and sometimes you get a little bit, and sometimes you get nothing. And, that's just the way it rolls. Sometimes if you're sensitive, then it's easier to kind of figure out why. There was we were at Edinburgh. Well, that's the second time I was there. I guess that was last year, almost a year ago. We were there, and the whole house was kind of subdued. And what we found out, and we kind of got the gist of the spirits are hanging back because they were pissed off because somebody had gone there and tried to cross them. And they were not having it. And so they were kind of leery of people at that time until they just, kind of like they're a little, shied out, and they weren't going to mess. But you could feel them kind of hanging back and talking. You hear them kind of mumbling to themselves, but they weren't coming out too hot. And we got a few hits here and there, but it wasn't anything, they were. But that was the problem, is that somebody had gone there and messed with them. And which people should not do that. You should never go to somebody else's place and try to cross a spirit.
Not unless you're asked specifically.
Exactly right. Specifically, this spirit, this.
Well, that's what I've heard from certain locations, that they don't want certain groups there because of their inclination to cross spirits over, so they will refuse them to come there because of that.
Oh yeah, I don't blame them either. You don't cross somebody else's spirit. So. We got the same rule at Mineral Springs. You don't go in there messing with them. Look, a lot of people think they're crossing. People aren't crossing. The ghost just gets pissed off and goes someplace else for a while.
Yeah.
I've seen some pretty grandiose stuff out there.
Oh yeah.
Now, there's a couple people's got some mojo or could maybe do it, but usually they don't go unless they want to go. If you can help them, one of them wants to go. But again, you're in somebody else's house. You follow the rules of the house.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We are to our next break. So everyone, I hope you're enjoying this conversation. I do have some more questions for you when we come back.
Okay.
And you are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. This will be a 2-minute break. So go and hurry up and come on back, because we're going to continue this conversation. So come on, hurry up.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio. Broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 45 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to the Kansas Blah. Welcome back to Denise is in Kansas City today, just like I am all the time, most of the time. But we were talking about something else, and my mind just stayed with that something else. Welcome back to the Paranormal Pride. I'm Denise, and your guest tonight that you're getting to hear is Coyote Chris Sutton, and we're talking about all kinds of things, and I was asking him some questions off the air that have to do with our area here, but I hope everybody's having a great time. And again, you guys always miss out on all the best things that we don't talk about on the air. But one of the questions we had in the chat was from Tom, and he asked about your drumming.
Okay.
So can you explain about your, I mean, I know that you have drum circles and all that, and I know that you use your drum to call the spirits in and all that, because I've apparently witnessed that one or two times. Yeah. So can you explain to people why you do that and the effect it has?
Yeah. First, thank you, Tom. That's a good question, because there's so many facets that I do use a drum for. It's funny with the drum. For me, is very special. Just because I practice shamanism, because that's what brought me in to my spiritual path. So this is kind of like the story. You just opened up a whole big bag of worms here, so we're going to go for it.
Go for it.
When I was 30, I won't tell you how old I was, in my mid-30s. And I wasn't spiritual. I wasn't religious. I was raised in the Unitarian Church. We were talking about that earlier. And so, they're basically secular humanists. They're not really into the Bible and things like that. They're into the good works of man. And so I had no background, these sort of things. And my wife and I were living in a small town in east central Illinois named Anarga. And the county was called, what was it? Anyway. And the town seat was Watsika. These kind of little Indian names and stuff like that there. Iroquois County is what it's called. And there's for some reason, I don't know why it was. It's one of these weird things that happen to you in life where you don't know why it was, but it just was. And so, again, this is a very small place. They had the national powwow in Watsika, which is 20 minutes away from us. They had like a county fairgrounds there. I mean, there were natives from Canada, all over the United States, everywhere, piled into this place. And so my wife goes, I want to go. I want to go to the powwow. I want you to go to powwow with me. I said, oh, what powwow what? Now, I knew about the Native Americans historically and whatnot, and, what had happened, all the raw deals and that kind of thing. But I didn't know anything about the, and this is, powwows are a celebration time, a get-together time, to dance and to give thanks. And so I said, sure, that sounds like fun. And we go down there, and I'm checking out. This is really cool, all the regalia and all this, the beautiful, and that's what the clothes they wear, you call it regalia. All this really neat stuff. And all of a sudden, there's a livestock barn there, and the drumming. I heard some drumming coming. I said, "What's going on in that place?" And so I walked in there, and I got my daughter was with me. She's like 1 year old. She wasn't quite that old yet, and I was pushing her in a stroller, and I just darted in there and stood there. And what I found out later is a warrior's dance. They call it a gourd dance. And the drumming is very intense. And all of a sudden, I had that spiritual epiphany that people have. And it's hard to really describe what I went through. But I can say that at that point in time, I felt like I had one foot in this world and one foot in the spiritual world, or whatever, the world of spirit, whatever. It's just a different place. And it's very odd. But anyway, so I came out of there, and luckily I remembered to bring Emily with me because I was pretty spaced out. And so I went and grabbed a book, and it was a book about a Native American shaman named Black Hawk. So anyway, things start from there, and that's where that gets me into my shamanic practice. Well, if you're going to practice shamanism, you got to have a drum. Drums are used for a lot of things, for singing songs, for ceremony. They're used for what a shaman does is journey, and journeying it's what drum beat does. It puts you in more of a hypnotic, more of a trance state. And so that allows part of you to journey to some people call it the other world or the spirit world. It's got different names. Depends on the tradition. And spirit dreaming, sometimes it's called spirit traveling, sometimes it's called. And you go to that place and meet with the spirits and whatnot. And it could be animals, people, whatever. And so that's a big part of that, because you go there to get information and bring it back. And that's basically in a very nutshell, that's what a shaman does, is interacts with the spirits for the good of other people. And so I got in. I was doing that for several years before I got into paranormal. And so I got into that. And at first I didn't always bring my drum, but I thought, I take it everywhere I go now whenever I do anything. But and we're this really, I would go and drum sometimes, just kind of playing around. But we're really, we're talking about, we're getting to the paranormal here. Why do I use it in the paranormal? I was at a place called Valley Mines, Missouri. It's got the second oldest house west of the Mississippi. It was built in 1749, I believe. And we did an investigation event there, kind of thing. And all these other cabins that were very old and whatnot. And it's just a few. It's the main town, the new town, moved down the road. This is just what was left. And they're all in pretty good shape. They people keep it up, and they have visitors come in and whatnot. It's more for historical, but they like the paranormal because it makes them a little money. And we went to this one, was a Wainwright's cabin. And we had a meeting with us. And she kicked me out because, she didn't kick me out because I wouldn't bear that very well. But she said, Chris, those ghosts are afraid of you. And that does happen. That's happened to me in the past before. So I said, okay, I'll come out. And all of a sudden I started getting the feeling that there's something else going on here. I'm seeing these little twinkly fairy lights, and they weren't fireflies because I walked up on them. You could tell that they were white lights. They weren't yellow, and and they're really cool. And I saw a spook light go through the woods. I'm like, and you could just feel all this native presence there, and all this, and the elementals. Some people call the fae. There's other names for them, but all these elemental energies there, and they work together with the natives. And so I'm like, we did a little circle there, it's kind of say thank you to the spirits and whatnot. And then all of a sudden we went back across the big house over there, the real old house went in there, and it was really hot, really active. They weren't scared of me in there, or they whatever the deal was. And sometimes I think maybe I was forced outside because I had to go see this other stuff. And so at the very end, I said, wait a minute, everybody come in and get in a circle. I went and got my drum, and I started singing songs. And then we would talk. I said, everybody introduce themselves. And if you ever do an investigation, we go outside. This is what you're going to do. You're going to say your name. We're going to introduce ourselves to spirits. We're going to talk to spirits. But, we're here to honor you. We're not here to mess with you. We're not here to do anything untoward. We're not going to taunt you. We're here to hear you. We want to know what you have to say, and we respect you. And we thank you. I always say I thank you for all the things that you left for us to learn. And right after that, after I got through drumming, I started doing another song. And all of a sudden the trees started swaying. And this is, and Jimmy was talking about the wind thing. And it's like, and that sort of kicked it into, it's like all of a sudden the trees started swaying like there was a wind. It was perfectly calm. And the little lights started flickering again, and the trees are rocking back and forth. And everybody's like going, wow, this is really cool. And so we stopped and we waited, and things kind of calmed down. And people went to the edge, and they actually got, a few readings and things like that, but you could see, shapes back in there and stuff like that. So I thought, why not do this? And, and Denise, you were part of that. I usually do it outside, but I do it in the mineral springs because in the very bottom, that's where you're actually a little bit below ground level.
Right. You're in dirt.
Yeah, I'm in dirt. So I have to be in dirt. I have to be on the very, very ground. And if you try to do that outside the mineral springs, you get run over by a car. So because you're either on Broadway or down there in landmarks where where there's a lot of traffic. So we do it in there in the basement, and you see shapes walking around the native, because there's a very heavy native presence in Alton. That has certainly been a great place to live, all up and down the river there. And so, but they come out and they come to see what's going on and to check us out. And I sing one song, and I used to sing Sioux songs, because I used to actually do that Lakota medicine. But when I switched over to the other one, I just sing their songs. But I do a song in Sioux every once in a while because they would probably understand that language more, or that would sound more familiar to them than something from the Northwest coast. Right. So they seem to respond pretty well to that, because there was a Siouxan tribe that would come down through here. And actually there's a place upriver from us called Portage de Sioux. Right. Which is French for where the Sioux crossed the river. So I guess they were running away from another tribe or something that was trying to kill them, and they got across there. Missouri, what's Missouri now. So yeah, that is the reason why, you'll see me sometimes for an event or something. You'll see that picture. I've got a picture of me with sunglasses on. I'm looking at it right now, leaning on my drum. But yeah, that's why I use it just for so many things. Healing and journeying and socially for songs, and sometimes just to play it and to sing the songs, and people seem to like that too. So it just means a lot to me. So yes, that's the most excellent question.
In October, we might want to go out back and do something, since she lost the tulip tree and 2 more trees in the back part behind the house.
Yeah, we could give that a shot.
Because, there may be a reason besides the winter storm that hit, that, when we were in Ashmore last week, you got, there was the snow and all that was a little bit further north. You guys had the wind and the rain. Right. On the 14th. So the evening of the 13th and the morning of the 14th, Sharon lost some trees. Maybe something to appease the spirits for the destruction of the property there. Maybe we need to do something.
Could be.
And is the tulip tree the one by the food, where we put the food tent?
Yes, I believe so.
I think it is too, for some reason. It's got those beans on it.
Yeah.
Weird. And in a way, we're always running into that thing and ducking it. Yeah. So she didn't lose that whole tree. She only lost part of it. So that would be kind of interesting. But in the last few years, she's lost a few trees. But she had said that if the trees in the back had fallen the other direction, the house would have been gone.
Yeah. So
luckily they fell away. I think that hill helped.
Yeah.
So
I haven't seen. I got checked. I haven't been up there close for a while. So, yeah, we could. I've wanted to do it. Usually a camp out though. There's so many people.
Oh yeah.
But it's not impossible. I mean, nothing's impossible. And
well, because we can wander off a little bit once we get everybody checked in, because we all know, everybody knows that when there's the camp out.
Yeah.
Word that I hear the most there is Denise or Sandy.
Yeah.
And it's during setup, at least. I told Ron, he knows. He's like, I don't never hear your name as much as we do during setup.
That's right.
And so that's one of the strangest things. So, but when we come back from this next break, I'm going to ask you how you got involved more in the paranormal. I know that you just got involved to explain some about how you got into the shamanism, but there had to be your catalyst in there for how you got involved in the paranormal. Indeed. Even though I know I've heard it, but again, for years I've heard a lot of stories, and I have different listeners now than I did before.
True.
So it's always good for them to hear your stories. And so everybody, we're talking to Coyote Chris Sutton. He is one of my friends from McPike Mansion. He was recently seen on Ghost Adventures for Curse of the River Bend at Mineral Springs Hotel. And we are going to be talking to him some more during the next hour. So you guys come on back. We're going to have a 5-minute break. So you guys listen to NPR and go get yourselves Chris is going to go get himself some bourbon.
Yep.
Ron's going to go refill his. And so you guys go get whatever it is you need and come on back. So you're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Jack Speer. White House officials are pushing back against the notion that President Trump's new tougher sanctions against Iran will cause gas prices to rise. Here's NPR's Maura Liasson.
The Trump administration is about to get rid of all the waivers it issued to countries buying oil from Iran. As previously announced, beginning May 1st, there will be sanctions on any Iranian oil purchases. Will that cause U.S. prices at the pump to go up? Not according to a senior administration official who briefed reporters at the White House. He said the administration is confident that Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates will increase their overall production of oil, making up for the Iranian oil that will be taken off the market. The purpose of the new, tougher sanctions is to put maximum pressure on the Iranian economy and to curtail the Iranian regime's ability to purchase nuclear weapons, ballistic missiles, and conduct terrorist activities in the Middle East. Mara Liasson, NPR News, the White House.
House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jerry Nadler today announced he has subpoenaed former White House counsel Don McGahn to testify before the panel in its investigation of possible obstruction of justice charges for President Donald Trump. Nadler in a statement today saying the committee is asking for documents from McGahn by May 7th and seeking testimony by May 21st. According to special counsel Robert Mueller's Russia report, Trump asked McGahn to fire Mueller, but he refused. He's considered a key witness by Democrats. The Social Security system is on slightly stronger footing than it was a year ago, but as NPR's Scott Horsley explains, the system is still expected to start running a deficit next year.
Social Security's cost will outstrip its income next year for the first time in decades, and as more baby boomers retire, that trend is expected to continue. The system will continue to pay full benefits to retirees and others for a time by tapping into its trust fund. Forecasters now say that fund will run out of money in 2035, a year later than had been projected last year. Much of the improvement comes from the shrinking rolls of Social Security's disability insurance program. The number of people enrolled in that program has been dropping for the last 5 years. Still, trustees say policymakers need to address the long-term deficit in Social Security, or else recipients could see reduced benefits beginning in about 16 years. Scott Horsley, NPR News, Washington.
Sales of existing homes took a drop in March. The government announcing that after a huge gain the previous month, sales of previously owned homes fell 4.9%. Home sales have been struggling to bounce back after slumping the second half of last year, when a jump in mortgage interest rates and continued high prices kept many would-be buyers on the fence. Realtors are expecting sales will rebound in coming months, with mortgage interest rates now at lower levels than a year ago. Stocks drifted around without a whole lot of direction today. A rally in energy shares to some extent held in check by declines elsewhere. The Dow dropped 48 points to 26,511. The Nasdaq closed up 17 points. This is NPR. A major delay for private space agency SpaceX in its bid to put astronauts into orbit this year. Over the weekend, the Dragon crew capsule that flew to the International Space Station last month as part of a test was engulfed in smoke and flames on an engine testing stand. SpaceX officials were testing the Dragon's abort thrusters when the mishap occurred. No one was hurt. The Dragon was supposed to be used in a launch abort test in June, with another capsule making the first flight with a crew as soon as July. Health officials have more evidence that soft bedding can be dangerous for infants to sleep on. As NPR's Michaeline Duclef reports, soft bedding like pillows and blankets can accidentally suffocate a baby.
Unintentional suffocation is the leading cause of injury death among babies under age 1. The vast majority of time, the suffocation happens during sleep. Now, researchers at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have taken a closer look at why these accidents occur. The team analyzed 250 deaths between 2011 and 2014. In 2/3 of the cases, babies were sleeping on or near soft bedding, such as soft mattresses, blankets, pillows, or sofa cushions. The study, published in the journal Pediatrics, confirms the CDC's recommendation for babies to sleep on their backs, not their stomachs, and away from anything that could block a baby's airway. Michaeline Duclef, NPR News.
After reports of its nearly $2,000 folding phone suffering problems with screens breaking, South Korean electronics maker Samsung says it now will delay the rollout of the phone. Samsung has not yet said how long the release of the phone will be put off. I'm Jack Spear, NPR News in Washington.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
Welcome back to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 5 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Pride. See, I remember the name of my show.
That's a Kansas City Pride, huh?
No. And if anybody's out there searching Paranormal Pride, this show has been the Paranormal Pride for 4 years.
That's
so
right.
Keep that in mind. So when you find Paranormal Pride out there, just be aware that this was here before the other Paranormal Pride was there. I did a search. I happened to see Paranormal Pride showing up this week on all over the place, and I'm like, was a little bit concerned about that. So,
Really?
yeah. So luckily it's been out there for 4 years, so nobody can come after me. So,
right.
And it's my name. You can't take my name. So
now, isn't today? Is this 4 years today? Is this the?
My 4 years is actually the 25th. So I'm going to have 2 shows that are my 4-year anniversary this week. So, happy anniversary to us. But next week is also going to be my 4-year. And I'm going to tell you why. Because next week I'm having on David Glidden, Dan Williams, and my very first guest ever was Richard Rose. And I have on all 3 of them together. So like I said, I've already lost control of that show. And they're going to be they're going to be talking about their project, Paranormal Studies. And I am very, very excited about this. And I want everybody to hear about their paranormal studies firsthand from the horse's mouths, but I'm going to have to go with the jackass's mouths. So, and I mean that with love.
I know.
And because I've known the 3 of them for so long, and they are all such good friends, and they all know how I truly feel about them. And they're some of the few people that I can be the Denise that I really am. I mean, I can be sarcastic. I can burp like a man and not be judged for it. And because I do, I mean, anybody who knows me knows that I'm not your average. I'm not a lady. I'm Denise. So, yeah. That was Ron. Yes, that was Ron this time. Everybody, that was Ron. Yeah, Ron can't do Denise, and everybody knows it. But yeah, I can do snark with the best of the guys. So, but I am really looking forward to hearing so much about their paranormal studies. It's going to be exciting, and they are trying to raise some funds, and I love to be able to help them do that, because I think that what they're doing is going to turn the paranormal on their ear, and reality is going to kick some of the paranormal in the teeth. So I think it's going to be interesting. Yeah. And you, on the other hand, you kick the paranormal in the teeth all the time because you're not fake at all. And
thank you.
I
try not to be.
Well, there's some things out there that we see, TV wise.
Oh yeah.
And I know that. Are you still on VidiSpace yourself?
I am. Okay. Yeah, I am. I've got 2 episodes of On Sacred Ground on now that you can go to see. Now I had to put that on hiatus, and I'll tell you why. Like so many other people, and it's like, this is not make me a big deal or anything like that, but like a bunch of other people out there, Denise, you know this. I signed a contract with a production studio to do a potential show that's being shopped, that's being pitched. Now, I guess there's a lot of people out there right now who are, I know a bunch of people are signed those same kind of contracts. They're really, it's let's throw everything against the wall and see what sticks time in paranormal television. And so there's tons. I've talked to a bunch of people who are on contracts. So that be it as it may, which is nice. But so of course in that contract like that, it says you can't do any unscripted paranormal type of show, even on anything. And so what I've done is, instead of, I just kind of switched gears, and I'm really, and I'm happier. I love the paranormal. Don't get me wrong, because I love doing it all the time. But what got me here to where I'm at is because of my spiritual work, because that goes through everything. So what I'm doing, there's going to be a place on VidiSpace for these types of things. And I don't know how much I can say, so I got to be kind of, cool. Now the show I'm going to be doing has been announced, so that's okay.
Right, because I searched it and I couldn't find anything.
Right, no, it has not debuted yet. It is called The Spirit Drum, and it's myself and Charla Hardin who does Girls versus Ghosts and some other things, and she's also working on some great big projects of her own. And so we are in the process now of taping shows. And so, because that's kind of the way it's going to go. It's just seems to work better to tape these things. And then what we do is we all go into chat when they air it, when they air it live, or air it for the first time. And so people get a chance to ask us questions, and to we can just talk about what's going on. So I kind of sidestepped the one, went into the other, and both of them, Elizabeth Saint and Nick Groff are the creators of this, and Elizabeth's the president, and so Elizabeth Saint was on Ghost of Shepherdstown and done some other things as well. And she and I have been close for a few years here, so so she has given us a green light on that. So we'll be. I'm not sure when we're premiering yet, because they're doing a lot of different things right now. They're branching into other areas where people can pick, can watch these things. You don't have to just go to the website anymore. There's a lot of different options. Like Amazon Prime and I think Roku and Hulu and all that stuff. You can get it all on there as well. So it's like Netflix, and the fact that you pay I'm embarrassed, but I actually don't know. I know it's under $10 a month, and it's not just paranormal stuff. There's all sorts of things on there. They have wrestling, comedy, cryptozoology, first run movies. That people make. These are artisans out there making these movies and stuff. Josh Hurd, who's a friend of ours, he has done the Brush with Evil series, and they're all on there, and they're it's just wonderful stuff.
And Dave Glidden's on there for his haunting history. In fact, there was some stuff on this weekend that he couldn't be in chat because he was busy with us having dinner.
There you go.
Because it came up saying that there was this live thing on, and it's like, oh, well, this is funny because he's eating a cheeseburger across from me.
Right, across from me. So, these guys' priorities right, But you talk about three great guys, all of them. I know all of them, and Dan and Richard and Dave, and they're just top notch dudes. I think the world of all three of them. They're all good guys.
Well, that's good, because Dan Williams said to tell you hi, and
good,
because I remember when you met him the first time at the Kansas City Paranormal Conference.
That's true. That's right.
Because we all met at the same time at the same conference. Met him at the same time, he's a really nice guy, and like I said, I just had him on recently with with Mike Nichols, talking about the random number generator, and and there's all this buzz about that, and about how interesting that is turning out to be, and how big it's going to be for the paranormal. So I can't wait to hear more about how that's going to turn out.
Definitely.
And the other thing is going to the 1858 Garnett Hotel, Garnett House Hotel in Garnett, knowing, first of all, I don't know if any of you, I know Justin Spurrier and Rob Garcia. They own the house.
Yep.
It looks teeny tiny on the outside. It's huge inside. I mean, you can't really have more than 8-10 people in there without it being cramped. Right. But it's huge compared to what you would think. And of course, it looks like a stiff wind would blow it over, but that's a whole other problem. But that's someplace that if you're out there listening, you can book this place, because it's not booked a lot. So
it's a shame too.
Check it out. I mean, it's got the history, and it's got the time. So you guys need to really get out there and check that out. And you can check out Dave's haunting history on it. And so there you go. But next week we'll be talking about them some more, and you guys will really enjoy hearing about all the. And it's still, Ron's going, it's still kind of new. It's new to some people, but there were people investigating it years ago before Rob and Justin bought it. Our friend Janice, I know you know Janice Fries. I think you're friends with her.
I
on
don't think
Facebook.
I don't think we've ever met personally, though. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Janice Bruner or Janice Fries.
Okay, yeah, no, I know Janice. Yeah, Fries.
Yeah, you met her.
Oh yeah, we met in freaking Mineral Wells, Texas.
Yes, during a wedding.
Yeah, we had a Paracon, a wedding, then people went to jail. It was a strange con.
It was, and so Janice investigated there long before before Rob and Justin bought it. So she has some stories about the location.
I'll bet.
So it's interesting. So people can go out there and check that out. What?
Yeah, definitely. I was telling you about that one place at Valley Mines where I saw the spook light and the low lights and stuff. I was telling Dave Glidden about that, and I'm going to take him down there sometime because he did that. He also did a documentary on spook lights, and so we're gonna. He sounded real excited about that. So one of these days we can both get enough time, because I know he's got all this stuff going on, and time is time, and so I'll get him down there sometime to check that out.
You really need to check out his second movie.
I'll do that.
Did you see his first one?
I'm trying. I know I saw the spook light one. I don't think
okay. The second one is Spook Light 2.
Mm-hmm.
Into the Light 2. Check it out. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, and I think that you'll find it to be even better than the first one. So, if you guys are out there, Into the Light 2 is must watch. Vidi Space.
Yep,
must watch right. Vidi Space. There you go.
There's a bunch of good stuff on there. I mean, I wish I had I haven't seen. Okay, I bet you I haven't seen a good portion of it just because it just takes long. That's how much stuff's on there. And there's new things every day. And some of it's going to be pretty top shelf.
Yeah.
Because one of these days I'm going to have to, I'll be able to go back and do some other things. I found a local videographer to work with. And she's going to cut me some good deals because she wants to get kind of into this stuff. And so I felt really lucky that I found this person because you just can't do this handheld stuff anymore. You got to have something that looks.
It's got to be professional.
Decent. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because if it's going to be on Amazon Prime, it also has to follow the rules.
That's exactly it.
That's one of the other things. That if you guys are on all these other outlets, they all have all these rules that go along with that outlet. Because I know different people have told me different things. So, you know what, everybody? We are coming up on our next break. So I actually do need a drink of water. My voice is starting to feel it. So I'm talking to Coyote Chris Sutton. And we are going to get to that question on what got you involved in the paranormal part of this, because we did talk about your shamanic beginnings. So when we come back, that's what we're going to talk about. And everyone, you're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. And we are really enjoying this conversation so much. And next week, you guys, just make sure that you guys keep me on track with those guys, because it's not going to be as easy as keeping Coyote Chris on track.
No, give up. Surrender, Dorothy. Give up now.
Yep. So see you guys in 3 minutes.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk radio.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but... Nope. That'll do. Hello. I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Son of a...
Hey, son.
Mother...
Son? What are you doing?
Hey, Mom. I'm getting ready to listen to Periscope Uncensored.
By expanding your vocabulary.
Well, it is uncensored.
Son, the uncensored part of Periscope Uncensored is Jax and I getting down to brass tacks with all aspects of the paranormal. There's no fluff on our show.
So, no off-color commentary?
I didn't say that.
Awesome!
Son?
I just hit my head.
Oh boy. I'll go get you an ice pack. Catch Periscope Uncensored Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, only on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 23 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Pride. I'm Denise Pridemore, and my guest tonight is Coyote Chris Sutton. So we're going to get to that question from Brenda before we go any further.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
What got you involved in the paranormal part of the Coyote Chris Sutton world?
You know, excuse me, I wish it was as exciting or, a moving story as how I got involved in the spiritual stuff. But what it was, a friend of mine's son, Jeff, his son's name was Jeff. He was a DJ at the local community college radio station. And he calls me up, and I've known him since he was a baby. He's like, a nephew. And so he goes, "Hey, I know you're into the shaman stuff and whatnot." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Would you be able to do a ghost hunt? We want to go live on the air, and we want to do it a Halloween night." And this is 1998, and so this is before any of the ghost shows and stuff. It was starting to gain a little popularity here and there. People were starting to figure out, who Hans Holzer was, and Ed, and Lorraine. And so it was starting to gain a little interest back then. But this is before. I think the first you had the one you're talking about, my ghost story, but then what was it that came on air? It was like 2002.
Paranormal State.
That was, it was one, actually, it was on before that. It was one from England, Most Haunted.
Oh, yeah.
With Derek the Psychic, and who was always being taken over by spirits. It was funnier than hell.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, so before I was saying this stuff was going on, so I said, well, let me think about this, Jeff. I said, now here I've been dealing with spirits of another kind. I mean, a different, I guess you would say, level of spirit. I don't know how spirit guides are different than ghosts I've encountered. They seem to be kind of above that kind of stuff. And they might not always be human. So it's always kind of, I'm not quite sure how all that works. I don't know all the rules about the afterlife and spirit guides and angels and all that kind of stuff. There's got to be rules, but I don't know them. And I have lived to learn with that. I've learned to live with that. So we talked for a little bit. I said, okay, why not? I'm going to be on. It's a college radio station, middle of nobody. But I probably have 5 people listening to it. So it'd be kind of fun. Like I said, he's the kid's very dear to me. I love the kid, so I said, sure, I'll do it. And I actually used a drum that night because not to call the spirits, but just to kind of create a circle. And I wanted the spirit guys to be there with us to help us out. So I didn't actually call the spirits at the time. I called all of our spirit guides, and every one of you out there has spirit guides, whether you know it or not. You can call them angels if you like. That's perfectly fine. Whatever works for you, but they are there. And so we did that. And so basically, I knew who had gadgets. I didn't know anything about EVPs or anything like that. So I did what I normally do now. I went by feel, and we would go in there, and I would, feel the place. And we found one room where there had been a suicide. And that was the first time I felt a suicide spot. Suicide spots suck. It's a death spot. I don't like death spots. But it's like when somebody dies, they leave a scar there. That means their ghost isn't there anymore. They've gone, but the energy is so intense it leaves like a mark in there. And then if you look at the way time's constructed and everything, it's just there. That's how I found the ones at Unitarian Church, same way. And we found out again later. We found out yes, there was a suicide. And this is where I also learned that I told the kids. It was one of these things. I'm just flying by the seat of my pants, and I told the kids. We had some college kids with us. If you are feeling down or you've got problems, you're upset, your girlfriend left you, and you're on your last leg, and just don't go. Just stay back in the base camp and just don't take that risk, because I don't know what this energy will do to you. Well, sure enough, one kid freaked out, and we had to get him out of there. And I built a little safety circle. I work in circles, so I made a circle out of sage, and it turned into a safe place. Because if you do certain types of meditations or journey, you create a sacred circle so nothing can come in and mess with you. And that doesn't keep one of your kids from stepping on you while you're doing it, but it keeps the ethereal things out. So you put him in there, and he calmed down. We got him out. So I learned how to do that. So yeah, that's how it started. We went to like 4 or 5 in the morning, and everybody experienced something. And it was a really good time, and we heard little things and felt little things and whatnot. It was a very old building too. There's part of the campus that's very old there, and that's what got me started. And so I didn't dive into it. I would dabble a little bit. I'm trying to remember, because after that I don't remember a whole lot. Okay, 2006 I started helping Sharon out at McPike. Every once in a while, Sandy, Little Lizard, Sandy Corbar, our friend, she's Sharon's main person, does most of the work with her, which is cool, by me, because she's really good at it too. But yeah, it's like, so I did a little here and there. I might do a house, somebody's having problems with their house. One guy was getting bugged, and I went to his house and figured out that the ghost was a cat lover, and this guy was locking his cat up in a small room when he went to work. I said, you can't do that. This thing's going to pester the shit out of you until you let that cat roam. And he goes, as soon as I let the cat go out there, and he would quit bothering me. And so, that kind of stuff. And so now, here and there, I was doing more, psychic work and shaman work and things like that. But what really propelled me into it, I did it more often, was, you were out there when Ghost Lab came out to McPike. And so I got, that's the first time I ever saw a TV show, guys. And I was on there for like 25, 30 seconds tops. They asked me a question about limestoners. No, I asked me a question about being grabbed there. I'd been grabbed there. And so that was kind of cool and whatnot. So, but, I heard little things here and there, and I got a call one day. I was at work, and cell phone rang. I, looked around, answered it. And it was a producer from the Dead Files. And so, she says, we've got this, we're doing a show called Dead Files. I said, I do watch Dead Files, so I know I have watched it. She goes, okay, good. We're doing this thing now where it's called Dead Files Revisited. And what we want to do is take 2 of the shows during the season and 30 minutes each in an episode where we go back and see, because when on Dead Files, Amy has the reveal at the end. She tells the people what they should do to solve their problem, to help them out. And so they were going to go back and see what the people did. So she goes, we found your name. And it was just one of these freaking luck of the draw. I'm on some website that, shamanic practitioners in Illinois. And she calls me up. I said, when do you want me there? Just that quick. And she says, and she tells me. And so it was up in Rock Island. So it is about a 3.5, 4 hour drive. And so I went and did that. And then I'm like, I felt like, okay, I really need to, maybe this is telling me something. Maybe I need to get a little bit more heavily into it. So I wonder, what do you do? I mean, so I remember seeing like Chip Coffey on, the Paranormal Kids. I knew he'd do, Children of the Psychic or whatever, and some other stuff. And so I just happened to go on his website, and I saw an advertisement for Scarefest. Yeah. Now back then, Scarefest was half paranormal and half horror. Right. It's telling way more to the horror now, but at that time it was a good gig. I didn't know, of course, I didn't know that, and so I sent him an email, and back then Lee Kirkland was in charge of taking care of wrangling the talent, so to speak. And actually, he is into promotion now. He's an agent for Nick Groff and a bunch of people. And so I just sent him an email. I said, dude, I'll do anything. I don't know what. It's the first time I've ever asked for anything. What can I do? And da-da-da. He says, well, you want to give a presentation? I said, sure. And he, I sent him my bio such as it was. And he goes, okay, and I think my first speaking thing there, and I went down there. My daughter went with me. I didn't get a table or anything because I didn't know any of that stuff. And so, and we, I gave my thing. I think I was probably up against Amy Allen. And so I had like 5 people in there, and I think 3 of them were drunk. And, because they just wandered in, they just wanted to sit down someplace.
They brought their own spirits with them.
They brought their own spirits with them.
I mean, it was Kentucky.
It was indeed.
What do you expect?
Yeah. And so that kind of, after that, I started getting more into it. I started doing more events, but in the same, I started doing more paranormal too. And I started doing more house things around the area. And I started working it in my practice basically because my purpose for doing it is to talk to spirits, to help them out if I can. That's and help the people, whoever's there, the people that live there. And so it just became part of my medicine stuff. And so that's how I got into it. And it was like so many other things we do it's by chance.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I called you once for some guy in Alton that somehow, some way called our house who needed help, and he was telling us he only seemed to call me when he was drunk. That was the first thing. And he called, and then one time he called me on my cell phone when we were in Kentucky. We were at a White Castle on the border between Kentucky and Indiana. Mm-hmm. And it's like this guy had the worst timing of anybody I ever knew. Right. And you're the only person we knew that we could go. Ron goes, are you going to call Sandy? And I go, no. I said, Sandy would probably slap the guy upside his head. I said, I'm thinking Coyote Chris has got the mentality to deal with this guy. I said, and his name was Dave.
Oh yes. Yeah. Oh my God. Oh my God. I have to tell this story. That's right. That is your fault, isn't it?
It is my fault.
Oh my gosh. Okay. And this dude, he tries. I mean, I give him that. So this guy gets hold of me, and I say, okay, I'll come out to your house and see what he's talking about. These things.
And they were strange.
You have no idea. Yeah. So I get there, and he's got this little bitty white house, and it's in kind of a run down part of town, and so I don't mind. I'll go anywhere. I don't care. Help somebody out. And so I pull up, and I get out, and he's out there, and he's waiting on me something else. So I look around, and there's like this black stain around on the siding of his house, or all around the house. I said, what is that? And he goes, oh, and this dude already had a troop of people go through here, waiting for him to tell him what he wanted to hear. And he goes, this witch came over one time, and she said I should put that ring, that's motor oil, around the side of my house. Like, oh, here we go. So I'm already in, and it's like, all right, man, and I go into the house, and they're hoarders. That's the kindest thing I can say. I mean, again, nice people. They've got issues. Okay, they have big issues, and so I'm trying to help them out best I can. And so I'm going through the house, and the bathroom doesn't work, all this other stuff, and there's stuff everywhere. And he's really into the Piasol bird. Now, the Piasol bird is a mythical creature that supposedly lived in the Bluff caves near Alton, and up and down the river here, and would like snatch Native Americans and other people until they finally kill them with a bunch of arrows. And so he had a fixation on that. And
I remember
he would see demon faces in him and see demon faces around. And it's like, I said, okay, well, I'll do, Dave, I will smudge your house, I'll do but I couldn't get to anything. Then it was a suicide house. Dude blew his brains out in the kitchen, and I could feel that there was a suicide spot there. I know what a suicide spot feels like. So I get there. Okay, that's creepy, but that's not the whole issue here. There's bigger creep factors. It wasn't the ghosts, So anyhow, I'm trying to, I said, dude, I can't smudge your house. I said, you got too much stuff. I said, I tell you what, I said, and I made up some story like, dude, usually I charge money to do this, which I don't, for house cleansing. But I was trying to work out, dude. I will. You tell you what, man. You start getting some of this stuff out of here, and you call me when it's done, and I will come back. I will take care of your house and all this, that, and the other. Well, wasn't going to happen. But I was trying. I was trying to get him to let go, and that's, of course, you need much more than that in that type of situation.
Yeah, and I know he never called you back.
No, I've talked to him since then. I mean,
but he's never cleaned it up.
No, he hasn't. So anyway, I have my bags on the ground. And on the floor and stuff, I was doing things. And I always carry, I carry my bag. I had like a gym bag that I use a backpack now, so I can keep it up high. And you'll see why in a minute. I had it laid down on a box and one on the floor. And I look down, I see bugs. There are bugs all over the place. I didn't see when I came in, but they must have snuck out when I wasn't looking. And oh my God, they're right by my bag and stuff. And so I'm like, uh-oh. So, I did what I could. I said, dude, I told him what I needed him to do, and I'll come back. And but is there a demon? I gave him the words he didn't want to hear. There's no demon here. Okay, there's some funky stuff, yes, and there was, and a lot of it's because of the energy. You get all that hoarding stuff. You get all this nasty energy that gets. If energy doesn't flow, it gets. It's like water. It just gets nasty.
Like a clogged up toilet.
Clogged up toilet, yeah. Well, that was a case too. Anyway, but that memory back to me. Thank you very much. So it's just it's crazy energy. It's messed up, and there's a suicide in there, and these guys have mental health issues. And so I'm like, and I look down, there's bugs by my bag, and I said, okay, well, we made our goodbyes. I threw it. I usually put my bags. I threw it in the trunk. Put my bags in the trunk. So I take off, and I call my wife on the phone. I said, Julia, honey, I want you to meet me in the basement with a pair of shorts and lots of bug spray. I'm coming in hot. She knew exactly what I meant and met me down in the basement because I came flying into the driveway, ran around the side of the house, went through the basement. Bug spray's flying everywhere. I'm getting out my clothes and, washing off and doing all this stuff and make sure I'm clean. I said, that was one of the most god-awful experience I ever had. And that was just incredible. And then I said, dude, like, yes, one guy said he could help me. I said, there's no pride involved here, buddy. Whatever you can find, you got somebody can help you. You go right ahead. And they let them take care of it.
Oh, that's what I told him when he called me back. I said, if you know somebody that's going to help you, call him. I said, because I can't come and help you. No. The last time I talked to him, I said, I can't come. I'm in Indiana. I cannot help you. I'm at White Castle, and I can't help you. Yeah,
dude, it was like, and I blew some smoke around and stuff. But I told him, I said, dude, you got to fix and I tell this to so many people. It's like I get a lot of these folks that watch too much television and they have personal problems and there's violence in the house, which sometimes brings negative spirits. But it's like, your problem is not demons. Your problem is the fact that there's holes punched in your wall because people get pissed off and there's so much negative energy in this house. And instead of taking responsibility for these behaviors and for the way your family acts, you want to blame it on a demon. You need to go. You guys need to go to family therapy, and nobody ever wants to hear that. And so, I'm not always popular when it comes to that sort of thing, and I'm okay with that. I had one
I told him that I told him, I said, have you ever tried to think about calling me when you're sober? And he didn't like that at all. Yeah. Jerome one time told me, he goes, why don't you send me over there? I said, Jerome, if Chris can't handle him and we can't handle him, you're not going to be able to handle him.
No.
And I said, you don't need, nobody needed that. And there was something else wrong. And I said, when it came right down to it, this guy was not altogether there.
No.
And the paranormal wasn't his real problem.
No.
The alcohol and the drugs were part of the problem, and what other issues were going on.
You're right, exactly. Yeah. There's mental health issues there too.
So, and how much of that was related to the self-medicating?
Oh, a lot of it. And that's what you usually get. Like I said, I had this one chick doing meth, and she had kind of a nice family. It's a shame, but have you ever heard this? Okay, and she was one of these people that if I could have got hold of her, one of my teachers could have got hold of her before she got into all this shit. She could have done some good things. she had that kind of natural energy about her, but she'd get stoked up on meth. And she didn't think I knew it, but I looked at her mouth and looked at some of her mannerisms. You get that meth mouth. And she was an attractive lady. I said, your kids were, everybody was home was nice. But, she had all this energy, and plus you amp it up with that. I'm sort of kind of, there's a theory about you can kind of create your own ghosts or spirits because you got all this energy and you almost will it into being because they want so much for be something else besides them. They don't want to take responsibility for the fact that they're drug users or they're violent or anything like that. So it's always got to be something else. And they just you get energy together and you get a bunch of negative energy together. It's going to do something. It may not coalesce into, it's not a being or anything like that. It's just, I don't know, some sort of a construct that, and you can feel it and it looks like it. But as you get there and really look at it though, it's like, no, this is just negative energy. It's not anything. It'll fall apart as soon as she goes to sleep.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of weird stuff when it comes to self-medicating, no matter what you're self-medicating with.
Right.
And so you just never know. But you know what? We are coming up on our final break. So I'm going to tell everybody, if you have any questions left out there, I know that there's one from Dara that I still have to ask. Okay. But other than that, I don't see any more. So if there are any other questions, please get them out there. You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk only on Paranormal Experience Radio. Broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 45 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Pride. I'm your host, Denise Pridemore, and my guest tonight is Cody Chris Sutton. And here's Dara's question.
Okay.
This is kind of important because a lot of people don't know this. But she asks, can your spirit guide be a family member that has passed?
Yes. My great-grandmother. Well, you see, I love it. Thank you. That's a good question, Dara, because it leads me into another story. Of course, I always got a story for everything. When I was 5 years old, my grandmother was in a nursing home in southern Missouri. Well, and I'm an advocate. My day job, I'm an advocate for people who live in nursing homes now, so I got a lot of experience with them. And so, but back then they were abominable. I mean, they smelled terrible. And so my parents would only make me stay in there for a few minutes, say hello to my grandmother and stuff, and because I'd be sticking my nose into anything to get out of the smell. And so they let me go out and play. Now back then, you're 5 years old, you could go out and play in the grass in a place and not worry too much. So I'm out there goofing around, and all of a sudden this older woman she's just kind of there, you know. I'm just like, oh, okay. What? Of course, it's a nursing home. Of course, there's gonna be an old woman there. And she looks at me and you know, and comes up to me and smiles and pats me on the head. And she doesn't say any words. She's kind of, you know, mumbled a little bit and patted me. And she gave me this little baby doll thing. It was about, you know, 3 inches long, and was that old. Remember that old hard plastic you could break and it'd be like sharp and stuff.
Oh yeah.
They don't make toys with that anymore. It had like a hole in it in the hard area, but she gave it to me, and I'm like, you know, and it's like, okay, you give me a broken toy, but I'm little and I'm still I'm polite and stuff, and so I said, hey, you know, I said thank you, and I looked down, looked at it again, looked back at me, she's about 50 steps away from me. And like, you know, but you know, I'm little, so it doesn't process. And so I glanced down, looked at it again, I looked back up, and she's gone. And I mean, she had these real crazy, piercing eyes, very, very, you know, I don't know, it's hard, not spooky, but powerful eyes. And so I didn't think about it for a long time after that, until I started doing, I was on my shamanic path. All of a sudden, I remembered that, and for some reason, and like about a few weeks later, I'm going through some old pictures that my parents had of like a family, you know, and we're not horribly close with. I mean, we were not horribly knit real well. My dad was the youngest of his family, and he didn't have me till he was 35, and so my grandparents, most of his side of the family was passed away except for his sisters. So anyway, I'm looking through his book. And I'm like, I find this picture. I said, "Holy crap, that's that woman." I'm like, I asked my dad or something. I said, "Who's this?" He goes, "I asked my dad." He goes, "What's my great grandmother?" Or what's my grandmother's? It'll be my great grandmother. Had these like piercing eyes, man. And it's right there and then I knew it was her. And every once in a while, she will come around when I'm doing. She's like my healing. If I'm doing healing work, she comes around to help me. But I remember one time, and this is back, my daughter was probably, I don't know, you dads out there know this. Your daughter gets a certain age, you don't give them baths anymore, you know. And Emily I forget how old she was, and she wasn't very old. But, you know, we're about that time. It's probably one of the last times I bathed her. And so I'm giving her a bath. All of a sudden, I feel her. I know when she's coming in. I felt her come in, and I said, "Grandmother, how you doing?" And she never really says much. I think she's just there and smiles and whatnot. But also I got this kind of like a little nudge. I said, okay. And so I felt this energy going from my elbows down through my hands. And I was just about ready to wash Emily's hair. I shampooed my hands. I said, she wanted to wash her great-granddaughter's hair. Great-granddaughter's hair. And so with the energy going through my hands the whole time in the arms, I washed her hair. And she got to wash with me. And she was just so happy about that. But yeah, so see, that's a good question, Derek, because you got me into another cool story. But yes, I do believe that they can do that. Now, my dad said she was kind of one of those backwoods crazy women, probably, you know, one of those mountain, what do you call them, mountain witches or something like that. But I guess she knew some of that sort of stuff apparently.
Call them granny women.
Yeah, there we go. That's it. She was a grand woman.
Yeah, that's what they called them in the Appalachians anyway.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and they were out, you know, they were right in those foothills of the Ozarks. They were up in the hills there. So
I actually have a book about that that I got from down in the Ozarks. It's kind of the Ozark folklore, and it's really very strange, some of the stuff that's in that book.
Oh, I can imagine.
But we got another question. Actually, if we come down to Dogpatch, you're speaking at Dogpatch on either the 10th or the 11th. Which day are you speaking?
I am speaking. I'm the last speaker, so okay. I come on at 3:30, something like that.
So that's going to be on May 11th at Dogpatch USA near Harrison, Arkansas. It's a Paracon down there, and so he's going to be speaking at that. So if you guys are interested in that, please IM me or whatever, and I will get you the information. Yeah. But you can look up Dogpatch Dark Night Paranormal. Dogpatch USA Paracon, and Coyote Chris is going to be there. David Glidden's going to be there. Ghost Crier is going to be there.
Gwen Allen's going to be there.
Yeah, Gwen Allen, Gavin Kelly, and Paula Kelly are supposed to be there. Some other people are supposed to be there that I know of, and hopefully everybody shows up. You know, so because we know how this goes. Things happen. So,
That
but
they do.
hopefully everybody shows up. I know David's going to be there, and I know you're going to be there.
Yeah.
And we're hoping to come and check it out. When I was growing up, when I first moved to Arkansas, Dogpatch was on the cover of all the brochures for Arkansas when I first moved to Arkansas back in '81. So I never went. So needless to say, I'm not. They're doing an investigation there that night on Saturday night. I don't know how that's going to go, but
it's an abandoned amusement park. I mean, what more could you ask for? And it was a native settlement on there before that too. When I was talking to the guy who's putting it on, so I'm like, I'm going to be in my element.
That's what they said, because I had Dark Knight on a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. It's probably been about a month ago or more that I had them on, so it'll be interesting. But Brenda asks a question. I want to get that asked before we get to the end of the show. She says she did some research about shamans, and it said medicine men and shamans were two separate types. One was more concerned with spirits and the other with healing. So which one are you, or are you both?
Wow. I would say, but some of the stories I know about medicine men, there's so many different types of medicine men. You have the plant doctors, the Pajuda Wachasha medicine men, plant doctors. Pajuda means plant doctor. That's Lakota. I don't know. It's hard for me to go black and white like that, because because it does bleed to me. They bleed together. I would probably say that I probably do more work with spirits than I do healing work. Now, I'm equally concerned with both. As far as my caring, it's just I don't know, because I'm not totally focused on one thing. I walk out when I go to do things. I walk out, and whatever it takes me, and usually spirit takes me to places where I'm doing a lot of work with spirits. But some days I'm doing healing work, and some days, like last weekend, I was at a what they call the Karma Con, a psychic fair up in Illinois, and I did readings all day. And so it just depends on the situation. I'm pretty eclectic. It's kind of hard to put me in a box, because or say I'm one thing or another, because I'm not sure myself, because I just do. See, that's the thing about coyote medicine. Is about you kind of go with spirit, and you don't have a middleman. It's not through their ceremony. It's not through this or through that. That you kind of do what spirit tells you to do. And so I can do all sorts of different things. It's just I'm like a jack of all trades. I'm not sure if I'm a master of any of them, but it's just I never know from one day to the next. I've gone to paracons and spent the whole day doing readings, never going to intend to do a reading at all. And, people kept, hey, can you do this? Yeah, okay. You do one reading just for fun. All of a sudden, I did that in Manila. We had Paracon Manila. I had my head down. I didn't hardly get to talk to anybody. I had my head down all day because people wanted readings. And so that's a good question. I have not seen it written like that, but it's very possible. But yeah, I'm kind of I'm both, I suppose. But the bottom line is that for me, I do whatever I need to do, whatever I'm asked to do, whatever position spirit puts me in, I respond to it, which is why I carry a backpack where I can do healing work, paranormal work, and psychic work all out of that one bag. So, because I never know what's going to happen. So, yeah, excellent question. I'm kind of a mishmash.
Okay, so since we've got a few minutes left, we know that we're going to be seeing you at Dogpatch, at the Dark Night Paranormals,
right?
Dogpatch USA Paracon on the 10th and the 11th of May. Mm-hmm. Then June 1st, you're going to be at Haunted Road Media Paracon at Mineral Springs, second annual. Right. So you're going to be there. Where else are you going to be?
Okay, now next Friday, April 26th, I'll be at Ashmore Estates. Rebecca Foster's having an event there, and myself and Riverbend Paranormal will also be there, and I'll be doing outdoor stuff. I get a chance to last time I was there, and so it'll be on Friday. I think she said she's going to open the place up at noon, so people come in and wander around and do all that kind of stuff. And I get to speak for a while, and then she'll do a gallery reading, and then we'll investigate. Let's see, June 1st, I'm at Haunted Road Media. June 20th and 29th, I'll be at the Hinsdale House with Brian Cano from Haunted Collector and Dan Class, who's the owner of the Hinsdale House. 2 separate events. You can go either Friday or Saturday night. And if you're patrons to Brian or Dan, we're going to go to the Wildwood Sanitarium on Saturday afternoon. So, yes. On July 12th, there'll be a Mineral Springs investigation. That's usually an open event. I usually help Dave and Don on that. Now, I may be sidelined for that. Actually, I will be. I will. A lot of you guys know I had a hip replacement in January, and I was going to wait till November to get the second one done because it's almost as bad. But I'm not putting myself through that because I'm already starting to get where I was before. So I'm going to get that done July the 1st. And so July's kind of wiped out for me. But the only thing, I was supposed to be at Cedar Rapids, but I'll make that up to my friend Kelly McCarville. I already told her I would. August 10th. This is a cool event. We'll be at the Farrar School, which is in Iowa. It's about 20 minutes or so northeast of Des Moines. And the Farrar School is a wonderfully haunted place. We are having a benefit for the caretakers there, Will and Jacqueline Conkle, who have gone through some really hard times. Just crappy luck, really bad luck. And so a car burned up. Will had surgery. He can't work. He won't be able to work for a while. So we're going to do that August 10th. It'll be it's a Saturday, and we'll start sometime in the late afternoon and doing a good investigation, things like that. So look for that. The banner should be out soon. September 6th and 7th, I'll be at SilCon in Mattoon, Illinois, Central Illinois Con. That's at the Cross County Mall in Mattoon. September 13th, 14th, and 15th, I'll be at Scarefest in Lexington, Kentucky. And you know what? I'm breaking out the paranormal this year. I'm giving a lecture on Jeffrey Dahmer and Ted Bundy, a contrast in horror. Well, I have a degree in criminal justice, so I used to actually write papers on this kind of stuff, and so I'm looking forward. I'm sort of stepping out of the box a little bit. October 19th, you can catch me and Denise and Ron, Mr. Bourbon himself, at McPike Campout.
Yes. And we will be busy as heck.
That's right.
You'll see Denise run around like a chicken with her head cut off.
But Denise is going to talk me into doing some drumming out there, and we'll see what happens. See, November 16th and 17th, I'm at the Quad Cities Paranormal Psychic and Paranormal Expo. That is probably going to be in Davenport, Iowa. And so that's the events I've got right now. I've got some more cooking, but those are ones I have announced so far. But yeah, I had to take a break. I got to get rid of some of them because of the upcoming surgery.
Yeah, that's very important. So
yeah.
I would like, we also have one event coming up that hasn't been mentioned. We're going to be on August 17th, we're going to be in DeKalb, Illinois at Spook Show Con, and I'm the co-host this year.
All right.
So that's going to be interesting, and I'm still working on a few special things, trying to get some sponsors and things like that so that I can get, a name, a good name. Yeah. I've got some things in my pocket that I'm working on, but until I get some money, it makes it kind of difficult. But I'm working on it. So far, we've got Ghost Crier coming out. Kelly McCarville is coming out. Vanessa Hogle. And so we've got quite a few people, but we've got some tables still available. So if you decide you want to come out, it's not that far from you. DeKalb is a little way. I mean, it's what?
That's not too bad. Yeah, shoot me the info stuff, will you? And that's very possible.
So I'll send that out to you. So everybody, you're listening to Denise Pridemore on Paranormal Pride Radio. We're listening, and we're on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. Tune in next Monday for my guests, Dan Williams, David Glidden, and Richard Rose. They are going to be talking about paranormal studies, and it is going to be an excellent show. So we will be here at. Yeah, it is.
Well, no, I'm going to listen to that. That's you're going to do the intro, and that's it. You will be snobbied over.
I know. Guys. The show will be at 7 p.m. Central Time right here. So you guys tune in, and we're going to have a great time. So thank you so much, Coyote Chris, for being on, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Yes, dearest. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to be on the Paranormal Pride.
Thank you.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting. The best in paranormal talk radio.